Jarvis.
Jarvis?
Jarvis. If you're like me, you grew up watching the Avengers. The flesh in the suit, that's Tony Stark. But the most impressive thing about this suit is, of course, the nanotech that allows him to fall 200 meters out of the sky with hardly a scratch. Not possible in my bedroom, possibly not even in this universe. But what is possible, maybe, is the second most impressive thing about the suit, Jarvis. We're talking about the JARVIS, which stands for just a rather very intelligent system, which sounds kind of dumb now that I say it, and it's this guy's, Iron Man's, personal artificial intelligence assistant. Jarvis is shown doing some mega impressive stuff throughout the movies. We've got safeguarding nuclear codes, helping to discover a new element, and eventually turning into this guy somehow. But we're just going to focus on this scene from Iron Man 2. Mr. T comes into his lab and is greeted by Jarvis, and then they go through and talk some sciencey mumbo jumbo, which is integral to the plot of the movie. We'll call that our general reasoning. Jarvis has an ability to hold a pretty complicated conversation and even suggest some new ideas. That's going to be our first point of functionality. To start, I've whipped up this. Wow, it's a lot of code. Essentially what this is doing is we're taking this ChatGPT webpage, getting rid of all this nice user interface stuff, and bringing the model into a terminal that I control. We physically type a prompt here into our terminal. So I'll ask, hey, Jarvis 1.0, do you think I'm an amazing person? Now, of course, Jarvis will probably think I am an amazing person, and boom, we get a response. And also, it's really quick, and that's to do with the model that I'm using. I've also added memory in. So for example, here I'm gonna have a conversation about bees. Don't know why I selected bees here. I guess it's none of your bees knees. Haha, funny guy. Now I disagree with Jarvis there a little bit. I hate hornets. But now I'll ask him what his first question of the bee response was. And there you go. Jarvis has a great ability to remember exactly what he said a few seconds ago. Now sadly, this is still a far cry from the real Jarvis. Firstly, Jarvis has this kind of posh British voice.
I believe it's worth a go.
Now obviously that's a specific voice actor which I don't happen to have handy, but I did try to emulate it using this Google TTS voice function. The issue is Google TTS seems to only have women voices. I don't know why. Maybe that's me being wrong or an idiot. So I just jumped straight to the Microsoft train and I found this useful voice that emulates Jarvis pretty well. So Jarvis, I need to build a plutonium reactor and I need a little bit of help. I want to know the atomic number of oxygen multiplied by the atomic number of hydrogen. I've updated Jarvis to use that voice and also given him a kind of face. Truth be told, this is just a YouTube video of a sci-fi background, for now at least.
The atomic number of oxygen is 8 and hydrogen is 1. Multiplying these gives 8.
So with that information, can you help me out a little? I don't really know where to start. You might have heard it in that last recording, but running Jarvis on my trash top is pretty intensive, so the fan's running 100 miles an hour.
To begin, clarify your project's goals, research thoroughly, and consider consulting with experts in the field for guidance and safety compliance.
Who exactly is an expert in the field in this particular subject? Now this version of Jarvis has taken a decent time to respond, but it's not the actual thinking that's causing the delay, it's the translation of my voice to understandable text, or the transcription. The computation associated with that transcription process is being done on this laptop. It's not particularly powerful. In the movies, Tony Stark has loads of these computers, so it makes sense that his transcription does happen like that, whereas mine is a lot slower. So the models are performing about the same, but the actual transcription, so the speed of the whole process of Jarvis in general, is slower on my end. Jarvis also exhibits an ability to work past just prompts. Here, for example, Mr. Stark walks into his lab and Jarvis greets him, unprompted, and then also pulls up some information. Over here, we got the UK stock market, which is for whatever reason represented by this pie chart. I don't know how or why you would represent a stock market using a pie chart, but that's what Jarvis does. Most importantly though, Jarvis actually pulls up a YouTube video which makes sense in the context of the scene. We're gonna call all those impressive features deductive reasoning. Initially, we'll focus on recreating this user interface, and I've whipped up this to mimic it. At the top here, we've got this news ticker. Now this is 100% real news, and in the movie this sits at the bottom of the screen, whatever. Since this is 100% real news, I set up a news API key to get this information. With that API key, I can pull data straight off public internet news sites. And since I don't actually pay for it, there is a 24-hour delay associated with this, but it doesn't actually matter because by the time you're watching this video, it will already be delayed news. On the right here, I've got a stock market graph. Now I've chosen an index that tracks the American market, so it's not strictly the UK market like the real JARVIS. Because this is real data, it's not a pie chart either, because after my 5 minutes of relentless searching, I wasn't able to find a website that actually displayed stock market information in a pie chart. The graph is set to change every 10 seconds or so, and you'll notice that when we get to the 1-day mark, we get no data, and it's because our code is throwing this error. Why can't it find the data? Well, on the day I'm recording this, it's a Sunday, and markets don't trade on a Sunday, so it's trying to pull data from something that doesn't exist. Something that's quite funny is you'll be able to correlate the news ticker information and the S&P graph information to find out when I recorded this. If you can be bothered, that seems like a lot of work. I've made a few improvements to the JARVIS, and the first of those is the hot word detection, which is why I'm having to spell out his name every time. It's like how an Alexa works. So for example, if I now say, "Hey Jarvis," it's now listening to everything I say, and it's gonna come up with some mumbo jumbo to what I'm saying right now, because what I'm saying right now isn't a prompt and it doesn't make any sense.
I'm here to help clarify or assist with any questions you have, regardless of how complex or straightforward they may seem.
Once that hot word has now been triggered, Jarvis is just always listening, so you don't need to keep on spamming Jarvis, 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 Jarvis. You'll also notice there's actually a voice here whenever Jarvis speaks. That's just another MP4 video played on top of another MP4 video. There's a lot of MP4 videos here. As he stands right now, this is Jarvis 2.0, and we've met some of our key functionality from our deductive reasoning, but we still have a lot more functionality to add. Notably in the movie, Jarvis pulls up a YouTube video relevant to the conversation that's being had. To replicate that, I've made two modes. The first mode is as before. We prompt and Jarvis responds audibly. The second mode is YouTube mode. "Hey Jarvis, I absolutely love everything SpaceX. I love their rockets, I love them shooting them off into the sky and all that sort of cool stuff and them catching it in the air. What do you think of rockets?" In this mode, Jarvis's response to our prompt includes a 5-word keyword summary of what that prompt includes. I've then set up the code to pull that 5-word summary and use it as a YouTube search term.
Keywords: SpaceX, rockets, launching, catching, enthusiasm.
We then filter the output for videos under 4 minutes, so I don't end up having to load a massive video. Jarvis then opens that in our general user interface into this general blank area. Now that YouTube video is being pulled from a YouTube API key, which is real time. I can pull a day-old video, but the model is trained on data that's a year old, so it can't actually automatically update its knowledge to that video.
I find rockets fascinating too. SpaceX's innovations in rocket technology and recovery are truly reshaping space exploration.
The final thing we're going to introduce into Jarvis is physical prompt detection. In the movies, Tony Stark is seen activate Jarvis a few ways, like here he uses a remote, here just his voice like we've been doing, but in this scene he actually claps. Jarvis is going to replicate this by using a hand detection script and a webcam. I've trained a model to take in photos of my hand, and then that model links those photos to a certain meaning. For example, here is a reset, which can be used for activating Jarvis. Yeah, actually that didn't really work very well. Instead, let's just make it simpler. I've reworked our hot word detection to, instead of looking for Jarvis in speech, just look for a really loud, sudden sound. Like a clap. Like a clap. Jarvis is taking a little while to respond here. Hello? Hello, Jarvis? Hello? Hello? What the shigma? To make Jarvis up to this point, we've been using a lot of code, specifically Python. If you're interested in learning skills in Python, Brilliant's courses are a great place to start. I've done quite a lot of Python myself, and it's a great multi-purpose language. It can run on compact microcontrollers, make Jarvises as you're seeing, and even be used for something like data analysis. Python encoding can be quite hard, and that's why companies pay you quite a lot to do it. The way Brilliant breaks down Python with interactive activities and theoretical explanations, I think really helps you to build a strong foundation of knowledge, which in the days of efficient code generators can help set you apart from the rest. If you want to check that out free for 30 days, visit my link, brilliant.org/Robalcus, or use this QR code, or even the link in the description, and you'll even get 20% off an annual subscription. If you're lucky, you might even end up looking like this guy, or if you're unlucky, you might end up looking like me. Now back to a final Jarvis test. For a final test, we're just going to recreate the scene we've been analyzing from Iron Man. Initially, we've come into our room and done our clap. We've then launched our personalized GUI and had a quick conversation. Hey Jarvis, how's it going?
Hello. I'm here and ready to assist you. How can I help you today?
So I was looking at some stuff around the internet, and I saw a popular technique to make AI more efficient. Have you got any popular techniques you know of? That is the face of a man who did not know what he wanted to say, but was filming anyways.
Improving AI efficiency often involves optimizing algorithms, enhancing data quality, leveraging cloud computing, and implementing advanced neural networks.
The keywords were kind of all over the place, so Jarvis pulled up a somewhat relevant video, maybe? I enjoyed this project. If you want to see me develop Jarvis further, tell me, but I have exams now, so no guarantees. Subscribe!